Pirate pride, pirate passion, pirate perspective. Nobody does it better.
Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Here comes the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics from guys who bleed purple and gold just like you.
All hands on deck!
Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook at 943thegame.com and on the IBX Media app. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Thursday, August 20th. We are inching closer to game day. East Carolina, 16 days away from taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. We'll continue to look towards that matchup with a further dive into the ECU football roster and the coaching staff. Last week, we really dove deep into the offensive system, what to expect from new offensive coordinator Jordan Davis. Today, we'll really hit on new defensive coordinator Jordan Hankins. He comes over from Memphis, but a lot of this defensive staff, including Blake Harrell, the head coach, still in place. We'll talk about maybe some of the differences we'll see in 2026 on the field. Also, we'll continue on our conference previews. Philip Pilkington and I have done a handful already. Today, we will try and tackle Conference USA, and we'll remind you who's in Conference USA, who are the favorites to win Conference USA. Kennesaw State won it last year in a surprise. Can they win it again? Can they repeat? We'll dive into that in our latter half of the show as we roll forward on this Thursday. The comment sections are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you've got a question, comment, concern, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it. What do you want to see out of this year's defense? What personnel? And we'll dive into that. All right, we've got Philip Pilkington producing. Philip, how you doing on this Thursday?
I'm good, Steven, but I do have one complaint that I just realized, and it's our fault. We didn't get Sean a whiteboard. Sean gave such great in-depth analysis last week, and I feel like my football IQ went up a couple points, but I feel like it could have grown a little more if we got him a whiteboard. So for next week, we got to get Sean a whiteboard.
Sean Cavanaugh is back for appearance number 2 on Hoist the Colors. And, a ton of – and I tell you what, we got a lot of great feedback, Sean, on your appearance last week. You're going to be here with us weekly. So first off, welcome back. Secondly, do you need a whiteboard to drop some plays?
Yeah, I'm really disappointed, Stephen, that there is no whiteboard. I also didn't get the specialized water that I wanted in my dressing room. I mean, I've got a whole list of complaints that I'll share with both of you at the end of the show. I'd be happy to have a whiteboard and do the best I can with it. That's so old school, by the way, the old whiteboard. But yes,
old school would be a chalkboard, Sean. You'd be the nails on a chalkboard, and we'd have to have the interns in there washing it down after every show.
Oh, definitely. I'm still waiting for the interns to take care of my sort of strategic needs about, X's and O's. So whenever that happens, guys, I'm ready.
I didn't know that adding this new guest would bring so many high maintenance qualities to the show.
I am
Here we are. Hey, at least you're upfront about it. But hey, no, always good to have Sean. If you're a longtime member of HoistTheColors.net, we're running our 60% off special, and you can sign up now for VIP intel. You know him on the board as Nova Pirate, Northern Virginia Pirate. He does a great job, X's and O's. So we're bringing him on the site or on the show this year to talk more over the airwaves. All right, some buzz from practice, Sean, since we last talked. I guess it was last Wednesday. Now, we've since had scrimmage number 1 this past Saturday. The Pirates also held a practice last night inside the stadium, working some special situations. No media was allowed, but I did talk to some people, some sources, and I continue to just hear that it feels like, although I don't think a starter has been named, it feels like Mitch Griffiths is training ahead right now of Emory Williams. Now, I wrote recently Emory Williams was trailing in the spring, caught back up. Also, not many people knew he had an injury he was dealing with in the spring. He's now healthy. He was throwing the ball better at the start of camp, but it feels like Mitch maybe has ticked back ahead of Emory. So when you hear that news and just kind of maybe Mitch being a little bit more comfortable right now, provides a little more playmaking, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think if Mitch right now is leading the quarterback race, it's probably because of his mobility issues, and it's his ability to feel comfortable in this offense. He's had a few more starts than Williams has had, and I think that's certainly an advantage. He's played against quality teams. So all of that plays into who is going to ultimately win the quarterback race or become QB1. This is an offense, Stephen, that absolutely relies on the quarterback having good timing good timing chemistry with the wide receivers. It's an offense in which Davis is going to want his quarterback to be cerebral, but not so cerebral that he can't get the ball out on time. And so the worst thing that a quarterback can do, and I don't know what's happening in practice, but the worst thing that a QB can do in this type of offense is to hold on to the ball. So if that's happening, then that is going to make this entire system difficult to work. Because remember, Davis is bringing in a system that Eric Morris had tremendous success at North Texas. And it's a system in which the wide receivers are going to use route dynamics to create leverage. And if you look at what Morris was able to do at North Texas, he was able to find a quarterback that could get the ball out quickly, but also understood the leverage dynamics. So I think the other thing that happens often in scrimmages is that the quarterback who has the ability to scramble, the quarterback who can use his legs to get away from pressing defenses, is also going to have an upper hand. I mean, remember, in summer ball and in fall sort of practice ball, the offense is behind the defense. And because Davis is now having to install pretty much a brand new offense with these kids, having somebody that can move with his legs when the play breaks down is going to be a tremendous advantage. And the last thing I'll say, Stephen, is if Mitch becomes the starter against Alabama, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Alabama's strength of their team coming back this year is going to be their defense. That defensive front that they have, they're big, they're fast, they're nasty, and going up against an offensive line that is a complete rebuild, having someone in the backfield that can scramble, that can move and get out of the way of those big linemen is going to be a plus. Because I think the big challenge, and you don't have to be an expert in football, is to, everything in football is about matchups. And when the strength of the Alabama team is its defense, and I think it's honest to say that the weakness of this ECU team to begin with is going to be the offense, just because it's unproven. You have a very powerful defensive front going against a fairly unproven offensive line and system. So a scrambling quarterback could be a really good thing if Mitch is the one who ends up as the starter.
And I do wonder, Sean and Philip, you can weigh on this too, just from what I'm seeing in practice, they're rotating a lot at receiver. I think they know what they have in Brock Spalding, so they're trying to keep him healthy. He can play inside and out. Landon Sides, who came over from North Texas, he's been banged up. I still think he'll be ready to go for the start of the season, but he's not getting a lot of time right now. So they're rotating a lot of outside receiver. They're moving guys around, and I think they're still trying to figure out kind of what they have. I think they're probably going to hone in on that going in the Saturday scrimmage. But how much could that, maybe impact things, Sean, as far as Emory's probably more the, hey, he needs to be on time, on target. And if your receivers aren't exactly 100% locked in consistency-wise, that could be affecting things too, perhaps.
Yeah, it matters a lot, because really in any modern offense, but the one that Morris really honed in on, and I'm guessing the one Davis is going to use, it requires inside and outside receiver to be on the same page in terms of timing. There's a lot of switch routes where they're asking the outside and inside receiver to switch inside and out to set up sort of natural picks, and also that's a timing route. So if you are doing a switch route and the quarterback is struggling with his hitch steps, I mean, that's the other thing too, Stephen, is each of these routes is going to have a certain amount of hitch steps that the quarterback is going to have to take. So the timing of this is everything. So it's very conceivable as they're switching out receivers to try to understand who they have. And I'm sure that's exactly what they're doing, Stephen. I mean, on paper, they have a pretty good collection of new wide receivers. The reality is though, until they're put into this system, they don't really know what they have. And that's part of the real challenge of this NIL. I don't want to call it a catastrophe, but it certainly is another challenge that coaches have to deal with. So new offense, new players, and then timing. So it's pretty obvious that the longer time that receivers and quarterbacks have to play together, the better the timing is going to be. I mean, right now, I would suspect that everybody is struggling not to play in their heads and to just allow muscle memory and reflex to take over. And that just takes time. And I will say that as a scrambling quarterback and someone who's able to use their legs, Mitch is going to be able to work on reflex and instinct at a better rate than someone who's maybe more cerebral. I would say this, and then I'll turn it back to you, Stephen. I think the big challenge, though, with a scrambling quarterback, and Mitch just isn't a scrambling quarterback. I've looked at his film. He can make throws, but sometimes he can be quick to run out of the formation. And the only challenge with that is because this is an offense that really is not set up for the quarterback to gain the bulk of the yards on the offense through legs. The challenge is going to be for him to be able to sort of stay in the pocket. Now, if he's running for his life, which, look, this is a challenge against Alabama, scrambling ability is going to be great. So it's a mixed bag, Stephen. But yeah, the switching in and out of wide receivers, that's a struggle for any offense, particularly for a new one being implemented.
I'll say the one encouraging thing, I won't say the only encouraging thing, but the one main encouraging thing I've heard going to Philip on this is, the running game, specifically Ashton Gray, Michael Allen, TJ Engelman, and the first-team offensive line. Like, I think they truly have something there. So if there are growing pains at quarterback, I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be able to run the ball in Alabama, as Sean just said. Like, I mean, you're not going to face a front like that the rest of the year. But like App State, Old Dominion, I'd be disappointed if they don't run the ball. So that at least gives me some hope. If they were struggling to run the ball along with throw it consistently, I'd be more concerned. And we know that ECU's defense field can typically stop the run.
Yeah, they can. This is a team who's pretty good in the trenches, and especially we've always talked about the defensive line and the depth. As long as Roy Tesh is the coach. So my question to Sean, basing off the running of the football, because I think the backs are going to be fresh. They're going to find a way to rotate, and they've already said they want 3 to 4 guys. What kind of running offense do you expect to have, just based off what you saw against North Texas? I mean, I know we are living in an era where you do see, a 50-50 mix usually of zone scheme and gap scheme. But Sean, where do you think, what should Pirate fans expect from a rushing attack?
Yeah, so actually, Philip, with this offense, if you look at North Texas, it was dominated by pin and pull and gap. So there were stretch runs, there were outside runs, but this is an offense that Morris designed to have a power element to it. And so if this is similar to what he did at North Texas, we're going to see pulling guards, we're going to see pulling tackles, and we're going to also see sort of misdirection, but they're going to definitely use a lot of leverage on the offensive line. So, think of counter and counter tray. And so it's not just going to be outside and inside zone. And that's the interesting element to this run game. We saw a heavier emphasis on zone last year with John David Baker, although he ran quite a bit of gap also. But if this is similar to what Morris ran, and again, I think we have every reason to believe that Davis is going to take what Morris did. I mean, he studied under him, so I think we have to assume we're going to see quite a bit of pulling guards and tackles who are going to use that 1 or 2 step leverage to get sort of inside position on defensive linemen and linebackers. So I think we should see quite a bit of gap scheme running.
All right, that is the voice of Sean Cavanaugh. We also got Philip Pilkington alongside. Let's get our first break in. We'll come back. We'll switch gears. We'll talk defense. Jordan Hankins comes in. less unknowns on that side of the ball, but still some unknowns as well. He ran a lot of different stuff at Memphis. We'll talk about how that may mesh with ECU, Blake Harrell's system. More on that on the way. Hoist the colors on Thursday.
The power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium rocking it.
There's nothing like game days in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Football is special here, and that's because of you. It takes all of us to have success. The 2026 season is right around the corner. Season tickets start as low as $75. Get yours today.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Need cash for a vacation? National Finance Company is here to help. For over 50 years, National Finance Company has been the small loan specialist with loans from $1,000 to $5,000 with low payments to meet your budget. We're in the business of getting you the cash you need today. Apply online for a loan at one of our convenient branch offices and get your money as fast as today. It's easy. Get the vacation cash you need. For extra cash, visit nfcmoney.com.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut, certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacoma's $259 a month or Tundra's only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Segment 2, Hoist the Colors on a Thursday, August 20th edition of the show. We've got Sean Cavanaugh back with us, talking some X's and O's. Philip Pilkington with us as well. In the chat, Kenny Curling says he's got his new Hoist the Colors merch on the way. Yeah, I'm wearing the new Violet HTC shirts. We've done a soft launch on our message boards. At some point, I want to do a hard launch on social media. But yeah, if you want some new merch, we got a polo. I got to hook Philip and Sean up. I definitely got to hook Sean up, otherwise I may never hear the end of it. We know he's got his standards. But either way, that's available. Go to our message boards, top of the website, and you can order some new fresh merch there. All right, this defense, gentlemen, I'm kind of fascinated. Look, I'm going to be honest. I've seen practice. I'm not going to share what they're doing for obvious reasons. I've seen some differences, but I've seen a lot of the same with Blake Harrell. It's like a blend. So I don't know, Sean, you look at – to me it's fascinating. Blake Harrell, we know he's got his system, his scheme. He's evolved it over time. He's got his D-line coach, Roy Tesh, outside linebackers coach, corners coach, safeties coach. And now you bring in Hankins as your linebackers coach and play caller. Like, how is this all going to look? And I guess that's the big question going into the season.
Yeah, I think if you look at what Hankins did at Memphis, it's not a big surprise that Harrell would be attracted to bringing him here to ECU. Hankins was known as a tactician. He ran a multiple defense, like most defenses are at this point in football evolution. And the other thing that Hankins is known for among his players is starting the best 11. And I know that sounds like something that should not be significant, but that doesn't always happen. But we know that Harold, one of the things I think that's made him so successful is that he also is committed to playing the best 11 on both sides of the line. So from a philosophy standpoint, this is actually an excellent hire. And, one of the things I was talking to you about before we started is that with so much of this year and really last year, I've had to create sort of cheat sheets because keeping track of all the different players and the different coaches, although Hankins is the biggest addition this year, we were fortunate to keep most of the defensive coaches intact. And also, the most important part of that defensive continuity is Tesh, who is really turning out to be a superior coach. So if you look at what Hankins did at Memphis, and they are very similar to ECU in terms of having to deal with a new roster the last 2 years because NIL. 2024, his offense was ranked 66th nationally. 2025, his offense was ranked 59th nationally. And I believe that's fairly close to where ECU ended last year, just in terms of overall defense. I've got the number written here someplace. I just can't locate it. So I think it's a good transition. And because if you look at their offense, Memphis offense, it looks very similar to what ECU did last year. I think there should be very little difference from sort of base defense that Hankins ran. The one thing that he used a little bit more than we did last year was he brought in 3 safeties, right? And a 3 safety look is really important when you're trying to beat spread teams. So I would suspect, I've not seen practice, I would suspect or wouldn't be surprised if we have a 3 safety look somewhere in the context of the season. But overall, I think he was an excellent hire, and we should not have huge continuity problems. Also, we're bringing back some really key parts of the defense, although we've lost, although I was going to say Danka and JD, but if the 10th Circuit rules in the way that we hope they rule, they're going to be coming back. So overall, I would expect, at least on the defensive line and linebacker spot, something that looks very similar to last year. The big wild card is, and again, this is not rocket science, what is the secondary going to look like when the opening whistle starts? I believe if I did my homework correctly, we lost almost every starter and backup starter and secondary player, first and second string from last year's team. You can tell me if I'm wrong on that, Stephen. And we brought in some really solid replacements, but that's the big wild card for me.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, at corner, they lost the whole 2 deep. Safety, they bring back some guys who played a little bit, but Jamarly Riddle and Tegan Wilk led the team in snaps overall, and they're both gone. So that's the big losses. My question to you is this: with the 3 safety defense, and again, I don't know how much we'll see it. I lean towards you. Like, Hankins has a background of running it, and if you go to some of his past articles, like Jonah Dillon, who we've had on the show, who writes for the Commercial Appeal, he's talked about Hankins, how he kind of remade the Memphis defense. He has a whole article about how Dave Aranda at Baylor, and who was previously at LSU, called him in one of the scoop on the three safety defense. So, like, clearly he knows what he's doing with that, and I think ECU's got enough quality depth at safety to run it. I think they have 5 safeties they believe in. I don't know who's going to start, but I just remember talking to JDB last year or going to the ODU games, and he talked about how much of a pain it was because ODU runs it. And even if you don't run it a lot, I feel like the threat of it is something that the opposing offenses have to prepare for, just because it is pretty unique and different to maybe what we see elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, the three safety look gives you extra help both in the backfield, but it also gives you some extra run support. And because safeties typically are better, or they can be better tacklers than defensive backs. So with the three safety look, you also, as a quarterback, you have to be weary of more sort of designs in the secondary that are what I would sort of call, trick formations in the secondary. So it's easier to hide what the defensive secondary is going to do with three safeties, and it also can complicate passing lanes. So the challenge, though, in running three safeties is the coordinating of that on the defensive side of the ball, because if you don't have the three safeties that are communicating well with one another, that can also be a disaster in the backfield. But if it's run well, you are really cutting off some passing lanes that can be difficult for the quarterback to compensate for. So when it's run well, Iowa, I think Iowa was one of the first defenses to really make this defense famous. They ran it in an extraordinarily efficient and dominating way. Not every team has been able to do that.
Final thing here from a scheme perspective, then we'll get a break in and talk some personnel. Sean Cavanaugh, Philip Pilkington here on this Thursday edition. We're diving into this defense. The other thing I noticed with watching Memphis that made me so intrigued by Hankins is, like, I watched the South Florida tape, and how they played that game was almost completely different than how they played ECU later in the season. So, like, and one of the things Jonah Dillon would say is Hankins would almost, not the entire scheme, but he would change up the base front, the base alignment from week to week based on the opponent. So I just feel like we know Blake has his system, and he always says it's not what we do but how we do it. But, like, you also have to have some wrinkles too. I just feel like the unknown from week to week has to play to ECU's advantage too. And I'm sure it'll take some time to install all this, Sean, but there's a lot of versatility here.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, too, that the other thing about three safeties is that it makes it a little more difficult to run RPO offense. And really, just in terms of having more numbers in the backfield, in the secondary, you've got an advantage there. So there are lots of pluses if you can coordinate it and you have the right personnel. That's the other thing about this in football. You have to have the personnel that can run these schemes, and the best coordinators are looking at what their personnel is. And as I look at the depth chart, and Stephen, you've mentioned this on the site, the safety is one of the stronger positions for us on the team, and I would expect and be surprised if there was not some type of three safety look. And like in anything in football or life, it's going to take a while for this to play out and for kids to feel comfortable with it. But when it's run well, it can be a devastating advantage for the defense.
Sean, I was kind of wondering with the three high safety look, in a way, what kind of plays do you use to beat it? And the reason why I ask is because, a traditional cover three system, your corners are in bail technique, and then, one of those safeties rolls down to the box. It almost, in a way, kind of reminds me a little bit of a Tampa 2, where you do have your two outside safeties. However, I know in Tampa 2, it's the Mike backer that's the quote-unquote center fielder, and he doesn't get quite as deep, but it is still the field being divided into thirds with the corner still in the flats. So do you run similar beaters to Tampa 2, or what is it a totally different way to dissect this defense?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge with three safeties is you're still running your base offense, but it makes so one of the things that's become really popular in football, particularly college football, are high-low concepts, right? Where you make it challenging for the secondary to decide how they're going to cover receivers that are in high-low positions on the same side of the field, or flood options. I think the biggest challenge, so for any defense can be beaten, right? And so what you would have to do on the offensive side of the ball is you still have to find the same coverage holes. You still have to find the same combination of routes, except the challenge then becomes the deeper routes become more difficult. So a lot of teams will then switch to sort of shorter to medium routes, depending on where the safeties are positioning themselves. So the biggest challenge from a passing standpoint is that it takes away some of the long ball. You still have to run your offense, right? And a good coordinator is still going to try to find the right openings on the field. It just makes, I think, overall throwing a deep ball a little more challenging, and it makes it a little more difficult for the quarterback to read the coverage. You can disguise more in a three safety, but it's still the same offensive principles. You're just trying not to throw it maybe into the coverage, which can be a deeper secondary protection. And then also, I'll say the other thing, it also just depends on what the defensive coordinator is going to do with those three safeties. Are they going to use the safeties more in run support? Are they going to use the safeties more to cover the middle of the field? And, you have to be able to react and be a field general. I mean, that's where the tactics become almost secondary to a coach being able to call the right play.
From Sean Cavanaugh, ECU will see the 3-day safety defense in week 3 at ODU. Blake Seiler runs that with the Monarchs. All right, let's get a break in our second break. We'll come back one final segment with Sean. We'll talk some personnel on the defensive side of the ball, and then we'll have our Conference USA preview to wrap up the show. So second half of the show on the way.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville. Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
My hair is definitely a reflection of who I am. Wild, fun, fiery for sure.
It just goes with the flow.
Me and my hair, both untamable.
I wear it how I feel.
Feel fearless.
Feel empowered. Look fantastic.
Look fantastic.
Look fantastic.
Feel unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Hoist the sail!
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties!
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
be Hoist the Colors. We've got Philip Wilkinson back in the studio. We got Sean Cavanaugh joining us as he will every Thursday throughout the season. A couple things from the chat I want to hit on real quick. Joel wants to know any intel on how ticket sales are trending for App State. We'll have John Gilbert on Tuesday, ECU AD, for his return visit. I'll ask him about that. Kenny Curlin says we had a great turnout in Washington yesterday for the Pirate Football Luncheon hosted by the Washington Beaufort County Chamber of Commerce. Pirate Nation alive and well down the river. Yeah, Kenny, did you get any scoop? Did Blake tell you who the starting quarterback was? Let us know. And then Kenny also adds, Blake said that we have a DB that can be as good or better than Siobhan Revel and Jaquan McMillan if he can put in the work. The talent is there. Blake's he's compared cornerback transfer Ashton Levels 6'1", 180 to those guys in terms of man coverage. And Levels doesn't have the experience. He did play a little bit of FIU last year. I think 300-plus snaps, graded out okay. But I've seen the ability in practice, Sean. I'm curious. I don't think he's going to be that guy, snap one this year. But if, let's say, Levels becomes a true man coverage player, how much does that change maybe the look of this defense on the back end that we were talking about earlier?
Defense completely. If you've got a shutdown corner, you have completely changed both the offensive coordinator's sort of play calling, sort of identity of what he wants to do, but you've also relieved some pressure on the defensive side of the ball, right? Because football really is a game of each side asking questions of the other and then trying to find answers. So a shutdown corner is worth their weight in gold because it causes all kinds of problems with the offensive side of the ball, because if you have a shutdown corner, that means you've got more pressure that you can put on the whatever side doesn't have the shutdown corner. You've now got sort of blitz packages that you can use. So it's a real headache for the offensive coordinator if you can have a shutdown corner. And really, I mean, all defensive coordinators, the good ones, they're always looking for some type of solution to the offensive problem, whether it's three safeties. And, to further answer Philip's question, a smart OC, if he sees three safeties, he might simply change the personnel group, right? And then sort of dare the offense to figure out a way to stop the ball or just go to flat routes. But if you have a shutdown corner, then you've also changed the dynamic for the defensive side of the ball. I mean, a shutdown defensive coordinator, I think, is one of his best friends. So hopefully we have
Sean,
one, right? But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would. I mean, him even getting that praise from Blake gives me hope that even if he's not a shutdown guy, at least he's a true starter and a guy you can count on. And then you just don't want to go into any game with two question marks at corner. That's a big problem. What about other personnel defensively? What intrigues you about this roster as you look at it? Any major questions? I know I'm kind of throwing a lot at you there, but feel free to take it whatever direction you want to go. So
I think based on what you've written and just looking at what we have, looking at the defensive side of the ball, between Preston Carr, Ryan, and Robinson on that defensive line, that's a really solid line. And the good news going into the Alabama game is that Alabama struggled on the offensive side of the ball, particularly with the run game. And so if you look at matchups, this is actually a good matchup for us going against Alabama. And then if you look at the depth at linebacker, just having I have one of the more intriguing players to me actually came over from Memphis, and that's Cruz Law, who by all accounts is a tough-nosed football player and had been making some plays at Memphis. So I'm really interested to see how he changes the dynamic of the defense. And then probably like everyone else, I want to see Gamble back at safety. Out of all the transfers, he is the one that is, in terms of play time, that he's the most legitimate sort of player. I think that not legitimate, but the player I think that has proven himself most at another school, at App School. So having him as a starting safety will add an important layer to a secondary that will be largely unproven. So we have, and then if we can bring Denka back, I think Denka was our number one tackler last year. You can correct me on that. And if we're able to bring back JD Lampley, I think Denka has some real NFL ability, and I think he just needs more rep. So I'm intrigued if we can bring those two back also. So there are some interesting pieces of the puzzle that the defense has to work with. And going into Alabama, I'm glad that we have a strength. I don't think Alabama, with the defensive line that we have, is going to be able to just run us over all day. That's not really their offense anyway, but they do have a gap power. Theirs is actually more of a sort of a mix of gap and outside zone. I think we'll hold our own for most of the game. So so that's what I'm intrigued about, some of the defensive line that's returning, and also two of those players that I mentioned.
Final question for you, Sean. As I look at this defense, we talked about the coaches coming back. Also, we mentioned some personnel there. Like for me, it's important that side of the ball has, all right, DJ Johnson returning, fourth-year linebacker. Kieran Davis might not start at defensive end, but he's a third or fourth-year defensive end. McKinley and Duncanson have been in the program 3-4 years at safety. And, some corners coming back, chance to make an impact. Jackson Barker, fifth-year linebacker. I just feel like the culture of those guys being in the program with this staff, whether or not they're starters, I just feel like them still being here says a lot and, helps with the continuity in an era like this.
It does, and it's rare that you have that many players at one position that have been in the program. I mean, those are true developmental kids, and it's great that they have stuck around. And look, Stephen, I mean, it's just like in anything. Sometimes it just takes kids, athletes, time to develop into the athlete they're going to be. So having a really substantial portion of our linebacker room having been here, and look, if you've stayed this long, you're a culture kid, because I know that's what Blake has really installed into this ECU program. He's a culture guy. So you have these kids have bought into the program. They believe in the program. They're Pirates. They want to perform. And in football, particularly on defense, that's all you can ask. So to have that group, be able to play for us in return, they deserve a tremendous amount of respect from the ECU fans. A true rarity at this point in college football.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that. Sean Cavanaugh, great stuff, man. Second straight week. We'll connect again next Thursday. We'll be 9 days out from kickoff, man. Looking forward to it. But thanks so much for the insight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. That is Sean Cavanaugh. Great stuff. Diving into the schemes, the X's and O's, a little bit of everything, man. Looking forward to doing this all season with Sean. We'll get our final break in. We'll come back. Conference USA. Who is even in this league anymore? ECU used to be in it. ECU won back-to-back championships. That was the last time they won a conference title in football. We'll talk about the current version of Conference USA, make some picks with our CUSA 2026 preview. That's on the way.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Hanson Belt & Buckle offers a micro-adjustable, holeless belt, giving you the perfect fit every time. As an ECU alumni-owned business since 2009, Hanson Belt is proud to be the official belt of East Carolina Athletics. Looking for a new belt for yourself or a special pilot? Visit AnsonBelt.com to see why over 30,000 customers have given their Hanson Belt a 5-star review. With dozens of materials to choose from and thousands of possible combinations, you'll find the belt for every occasion, especially game day, at AnsonBelt.com.
I remember this little girl, hearing her parents fighting, seeing them arguing, feeling every emotion of fear, sadness, even guilt. I remember her because she was me, and she still is. I'm Ashley Nicole Russell, and I know firsthand that divorce can have a lifelong impact on a child. And when attorneys put their own interests first, it only tears families further apart. That's why I grew up to become an attorney who focuses on common ground, peaceful divorce for the whole family. Contact us at michaelandrussell.com and anrlaw.com today.
At CCS Equipment Sales, we're proud to be your one-stop certified Takeuchi construction equipment dealer. We're dedicated to building lasting relationships by providing solutions with new or used equipment, rentals, parts, and service. Our inventory includes Takeuchi excavators, track loaders, and wheel loaders, along with a wide range of attachment options. Visit one of our 3 locations in Ayton, Angier, and Youngsville, or online at ccsequipment.com. At CCS Equipment, we believe we succeed when you succeed.
As fall approaches, 2 things come to mind: football and cooler weather. This is Rachel Davis with Advanced Mechanical Heating and Air. We wanted to thank you for the trust you have put in us this summer. Before you know it, cooler temperatures will arrive, signaling winter is on the way. Don't wait. Prepare now for colder temperatures by scheduling a tune-up. Give us a call today at 252-355-9191 or visit our website, advancedmechnc.com.
For years, Callie Ann Phelps has been singing about Phelps Chevrolet.
Phelps Chevrolet is the one for you. Low prices, service too. See the big dealer right away. Carolina's finest, Phelps Chevrolet.
And you'll agree with what Skylar Phelps has to say.
Nobody beats Phelps Chevrolet's prices. Nobody.
You can depend on Phelps Chevrolet.
Get you one.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Final segment here. It's time. Time for the most anticipated college football preview of any media entity in the country. Our Conference USA 2026 football preview, Philip Pilkington and I. Are you ready, Philip?
Let's go. I'm pumped up, baby.
Conference USA, in case you didn't know, these are the 10 teams. Liberty, Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, Delaware, FIU, New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee State, Missouri State, Sam Houston State. I believe like half of this league was in the FCS a decade ago. They're now in ECU's former conference, Conference USA, how things have changed. Some quick storylines because we've got a lot to get to. Liberty was awful last year, 4-8 under Jamie Chadwell, despite having by far the most resources in this league. Western Kentucky has been to 8 bowl games in the last 12 years. Tyson Helton done a heck of a job, but he has not won a Conference USA title with the Hilltoppers. Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State met in the conference title game last year, with Kennesaw State winning on the road. Delaware had a solid first year. FIU, Willie Simmons, heck of a coach, 9 for 9 in winning seasons. And then you got New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee, Missouri State, Sam Houston projected at the bottom. Missouri State coming off a good season. They lost their coach, Coastal Carolina, Ryan Beard. That takes us to our first segment here, Philip. New coach looking forward to watching. Well, there's only one new coach. It is the new head coach at Missouri State, who I'm actually pretty high on this guy. I heard some buzz. I don't know if he would have gotten an interview or not, but Casey Woods, SMU OC, was in the mix for the ECU job after the Mike Houston fire, and he's now the first-time head coach at Missouri State. So he is our new coach worth watching.
He's also spent some time at Auburn, and he was a GA at Tennessee as well, which is where he played. So he spent some time in the SEC and the ACC.
There is your Casey Woods profile. All right, best quarterback. I don't know how much research you put into this, but Liberty has like 5 quarterbacks in the mix, and you could almost make an argument for any of those. They apparently have some stud freshman who's got a chance to be really good. I don't know if he's going to start or not. I went with Caden Creel, though. Jacksonville State ran for 1,000 yards last year, returning starter. How about you?
I went with another returning starter, and that is one of the Blue Hens of Delaware, Nick Minatucci.
I was looking forward to seeing if you could pronounce his name, and
I'm
you
guessing
nailed
I
it.
did not.
So.
Oh, I did? Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Most exciting non-quarterback in the Conference USA, whatever it's called these days. I went with a former American Conference member, Kanye Udo. Talk about a path. This is like college football 2026 to a T. Army, Arizona State, Liberty. That's his last 3 years. Could you imagine going to those 3 different schools?
A lot of cultural differences there. Liberty and Army do have the similar things with the curfews and stuff, but for different reasons.
Just a quick trip to Arizona State between. I'm sure life is a little different.
Yeah, they party just a smidge there.
What you got here?
I have Jamarie Robinson, a wide receiver out of Missouri State. He's also a very explosive kick returner, too. So he's a specialist as well as a wide receiver. So that kind of made it a little extra fun, so I went with him.
Most exciting non-quarterback defensive player if you're watching some CUSA on a midweek game or on some random Saturday night and you need a player to watch, tune in to Kennesaw State to watch linebacker Barron Hobson. ECU actually recruited this young man. Didn't take him. He's turned into a heck of a player. He's dealt with some health issues, but he had 138 tackles last season for the Conference USA champions. So I'm on Barron Hobson.
Yeah, he was like co-defensive player of the year as well as that was a program record, 138 tackles. So yeah, I went with him as well.
Game we're looking forward to most. I mean, there's no shortage of candidates here to be sure. I've got two written down. I've got Western Kentucky at Liberty November 21st. This could have conference ramifications. I'll give you a bonus one in a minute, but what do you got, Philip?
I got Delaware and Liberty Friday, October the 2nd.
A little Friday night action?
There you go. Yeah, buddy.
Friday
on
night
ECU bye week, too. So,
you're going to be locked in.
I will be at a wedding,
add
actually.
That one to the, okay. I'll add that one to the pick'em sheet, though, just for you.
Thank you.
Bonus pick here. This is a non-conference game. Revenge game, though. You know I love me some revenge games.
You do.
Liberty is at Coastal Carolina, September 24th. Jamie Chadwell going back to Coastal. Let's see how that turns out for him. Could get ugly.
That needs to be on the pick'em sheet, mostly because I'm guaranteed half the games that week are going to be FCS games anyways, so that might have to actually make the pick'em sheet.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Liberty at Coastal Carolina in late September. All right, last place team. I went with the only first-time coach here. There's a couple different candidates, but I went with Missouri State just because I think they're going to have a lot of turnover. I'm also not sold on their quarterback. Belane from Duke, I don't think he's the best.
No, he's not. But I went with Sam Houston State, which was kind of the betting odds fair to be the worst. I actually read up on them, and they said it said like floor and ceiling. Ceiling was 3 losses or 3 losing seasons in the last 4 years was their ceiling. Floor was they don't get to 4 wins.
Bounce back team missed a bowl game in 2025, but will make one in 2026. I mean, the easy one here is Liberty. They went 4-8 last year. They're probably the favorite. I think you verified that preseason.
Yeah,
they're the favorite to win the league.
They're like plus 210.
Yeah, I mean they just have so many resources compared to these other schools. But I went New Mexico State as my official pick just to not make it boring.
There you go.
So you went Liberty?
Yeah.
New Mexico State last year, I think 4-8, and their coach going into their third year, Tony Sanchez. I think they take a step forward this year. All right, dark horse title contender. Who do you have in the CUSA?
Part of the reason I didn't go with New Mexico State there, I didn't want to double up on them, but I actually have them as the dark horse title contender. They get they get pretty balanced scheduling here with only 10 teams in the conference. You play 8 games, so there's one team you don't play. But every heavy hitter they get them at home. They have a very, very favorable road schedule, and if they can take care of business at home, and that is a tough place to play sometimes, going out there in the desert in the middle of winter, it's a long flight for some of these teams. Hey, maybe the Aggies can get it done.
I went with the FIU, Florida International. Willie Simmons, 9 years as a head coach, 9 winning seasons. Last year they went 7-6. It's the second year there. I'm not sold on their quarterback. They just named J.J. Cole, the App State transfer, the starter. But I think talent-wise, look, you're right in the Miami area. They're always going to have raw talent. If they can get to come together, I think they can have a shot to make some noise in this league. All right, conference title game and conference champion. I'll let you lead it off. Who you got?
Yeah, so I have the return of the Owls, Kennesaw State, who's about 3rd or 4th in the odds, but I have them in this contest, and I have them losing to, hey, you know what? You're going to have to score points in this league, and the team with the best quarterback and the team with the best running back is the same team, and that is the Blue Hens of Delaware. So shout out to Super Bowl champion Joe Flacco and the Delaware Blue Hens, who are going to win the conference championship over Kennesaw State.
The Delaware Blue Hens is the pick from Philip. I have Jacksonville State returning to the conference championship game after losing to Kennesaw last year. I have Jacksonville State facing Liberty, and I have Jacksonville State beating Liberty in the title game. These two teams do not meet in the regular season, and I'm going to say they meet during the conference championship, and Liberty ends up falling to Jacksonville State. So there's our Conference USA preview. Hunter says he's sold on CUSA football. I am not sold, even after doing that entire preview.
Wow,
So,
Hunter's just a better person than you, and he's more optimistic than you. He's a better football fan than you, and
Yes.
we're giving the show to Hunter.
That's completely fine with me. I'll take next year off. I'll let him do the Conference USA preview next year. And I did watch Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State at the conference championship last year. I think that's the only CUSA action I truly watched, outside of maybe Western Kentucky opening day. I think I watched them on week 0 last year, but that's
there was
about
probably
it.
some random Tuesday nights I casually threw a game on.
Yeah, just some background noise. We got a few questions or comments from the chat. I'll read the final minute of the show. David says, feeling a bit better about the season from this conversation when we had Sean on, just nervous about a new OC and DC in the same year, along with NIL. Davey Jones says, predicting how many teams and players will play is fun this time of year. However, I'm ready for them to put the ball down and play. Then we will see what we will see. I'm with you, man. I think we've previewed this thing about as much as possible. Unfortunately, we still got 2 more weeks to do it. And then Hunter wants to know what my biggest concern for the team is going through the season. My guess is O-line depth is what he says. I think O-line depth, I was reading LSU's website this morning. Their biggest question is O-line depth. O-line depth's a problem everywhere. For me, it's obviously the quarterback position too. Are you going to get consistent play there? And then also corner, and specifically secondary. Is it going to be good enough to hold up against some of the better passing teams on the schedule? So those are my biggest questions going through the season. But that's what makes this fun. That's what makes these discussions enlightening, and we try to figure it out, do our best to project it as we can. But ready for September 5th to get here. There's no doubt about that. All right, we got to get out of here. Tomorrow, Bobby Harvard joins us. We'll talk all things DCU, a little bit of everything on Friday. Appreciate Sean. Appreciate Philip, as always, and the rest of the crew at 94.3 The Game. We'll see you on Friday as well.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Get a recap of this show at 943thegame.com and on your IBX Media app, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Tune in weekdays at noon to get your ECU sports